I'd like to introduce my panel. Toni, Sabatino.
Thank you.
No introduction, clearly. Bruno. Not to sing. Especially Elizabeth with Reflectel. And Steven with Synapse Audio Video. So we wanted to get into a conversation about the power of partnership and how working with other people, if that benefits, and how and what ways to do that. So anyone on the panel want to start?
I do. Hi, I'm Bruno, and I'm the CEO of Rayva Home Theaters. And I had the great pleasure of meeting Toni and now Elizabeth. And partnerships are very important. The designers, the design community, they are connected to the homeowners. What we want to do at Rayva Home Theaters is deliver exceptional experiences to homeowners. And it's a natural partnership. I wanted to open up that way and turn it over to my colleagues.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Ben. I have a mic. I've had the pleasure of working in the design field for about 30 years. And basically, over time, you talk to people, you become sort of a sociologist. And if you want to do a good job in the interior, in my opinion, it needs to focus on the lifestyle. It's not so much about the picture that you want to put on the cover of the magazine. It's really how the people live there. So creating a user experience, if you will, in the home that matches the aesthetic is extremely important to me. And having had an opportunity to watch technology expand in the home from AV. My family is really big on family movie night. We love home theater. But aside from that, to watch it go, into an integrated home security, home comfort, and now kitchen and bath. I'm also the president of our local National Kitchen and Bath Association chapter, is extremely exciting to me. And I think having an opportunity to talk about the fact that it's my role to help my homeowner or even if it's a commercial project, navigate what has to happen in the space and either be part of a team brought in by somebody else or bring in the partners so that each role is defined and the project has a great user experience at the end.
I agree. Yeah, so from the nuts and bolts side of things, when you're talking about building a space, when you've talked to your designers, you have your team, no one company can necessarily do everything. So partnering with a company who is well represented in the market is oftentimes more important than finding that one specific shop that just happens to have everything, because that means your integrator has resources that other integrators may not have, or your designer has resources that other designers may not have immediate access to. So knowing that who you're working with is someone who's social, that's involved in the market, who comes to events like this, they know things that other people don't, they're aware of technologies that other people aren't, and they can deliver the whole package, because technology specifically can be a pretty wide-ranging group of things to work with. Actually, I was lucky enough to work with Mike on a few projects. Mike and I both run audio-video companies, and to have two companies who ostensibly do the same thing working together in similar spaces is odd to many industries, but in technology, it really just works really well.
If I may, my company, Reflectel, makes mirror TVs. We do a very high-end version of mirror TVs. Hi, Barbara. We're in Bloomingdale's, where Barbara is. And one of the things that I do both in my business life and in my personal life is collaborate. The one thing I say all the time is I can't do everything. And the minute you say you can do everything, you're doing something less than. So when we pull together a team, the team consists of, in an integration job, myself, the designer, the architect, the AV integrator. I have had the luxury of coming in as a design end product in a tech world. And one of the things that I've noticed is that designers don't fully grasp what's going on in technology. And sometimes those introductions are made through the contractor, sometimes those introductions are made through the architect, or the design professional. And what's happening now is the design world is becoming more aligned with the tech world. So when I come into a project, if someone does not have an AV integrator, I have to suggest strongly that they bring this professional in because we tie it together. So my product is just one of many, many products, whether it's a kitchen or a home theater or the nuts and bolts of the AV integration, which to me is the nerve center of a home. So if we're working together as partners, and something I've noticed with my AV integrator friends, the sharing of information. I overheard a conversation with Michael and Chris Smith about having a talk that they all join in because they know there's so much work out there. So if you work together as partners...
I think it also reflects well on you. So as the person who is willing to say, I know people and I'm aware that there are expertises that I may not have, but that people I know have, now you can formulate that world around yourself. So if you're the first person to touch the client, you're the interior designer, and you bring people in, great. If you're the technology consultant and you bring in designers, even better. If you're a builder and you bring in subcontractors, that also works really well. So whoever touches that client first oftentimes has the best chance of being the ringleader, so to speak, of the whole project and being sure that it kind of comes together the way it's supposed to.
Absolutely.
Plus the importance of working with other brands. A lot of times as an integrator, and you'll find that a lot of times with the smaller integrators or medium-sized integrators, they'll try to grow in essence to do something out of their, out of their wheelhouse. And that's usually when problems happen. So a lot of times finding another integrator and partnering with them, I myself and Steven can contest that we have worked together, and he's an amazing, amazing lighting engineer to be able to bring his services in on my sites to help finish it. Even Rayva at, Vin over here at Rayva, having had that introduction and these Rayva theaters and understanding, now when we do theaters and we're trying to understand, all right, this is a very specialized, detailed thing, we're able to bring in a specialist that just does that. And it's the same thing with kitchen and baths. And, something as a kitchen or bath with so much detail and there's so much in it, you would think like, oh, there's not, but there is great detail in everything. You just need to find the specialist in that. And if we all work together, our sum is always better than us by ourselves.
How do you feel, Mike, about the client's perception of what we're talking about? And we're communicating to an audience of people who work in our industry. How does the client perceive multiple integrators? Because I had some work done on my house recently, and it can be a nightmare if you don't have someone who is used to putting people in a house that know what they're doing.
A lot of the time, but it was funny how you brought it up first. It's whoever had that first touch to the customer. That's the ringleader. And the reality of knowing your team and building these relationships, why I reach out to Toni and, hey, we should work together and help, because the reality is that it doesn't work well day one. You have to build the relationship. You have to know each other. As Reflectel, Elizabeth and I, we work together to try to build our relationship and understand it has to be that friendship, that marriage, that we can rely on each other, trust each other, and then the end user or the customer, they feel that. Yeah. So they see, and then they feel even more trust because they see more depth, more people that they can contact is something, and when they see that much trust in that many different people, it also elevates their trust.
I think a lot of it is giving people high performance. In high performance, what's a high performance car? Obviously it could be a fancy, really expensive sports car, but you could also think of like the Ford Focus that was on American Idol as like high performance in that moment because it did stuff. And I think people expect things to do more stuff, including your home. So the person that drives the high performance car, they're looking for a high performance home. It doesn't mean that everything in it is crazy expensive, but it means that it needs to work well. So if you think about a car, somebody built the seats, somebody else built the steering wheel, somebody else built the sound system, somebody else, did the wiring, and then like somebody did the engine. So all of the things that it takes to make something work in a high performance way, that's kind of how I feel about the team that it takes to put together a high performance home.
Toni, how many hours a week do you put into networking with other integrators and designers and suppliers?
I am the president of the National Kitchen and Bath Association.
So you're lucky to have the time to...
Well, I make the time.
Make the time.
And the reason that I make the time and the reason that I go to the shows and I seek out the information and the people and like my new friends at Control 4, it's all very powerful. And going up to Vin's theater place up in Valhalla, it's important for me to have an understanding of what's available and know who to contact, because I'm certainly not going to be an expert in everything, nor would I try.
As a business owner, it can be hard to make that time. And I think it's really important to do it in whatever industry you're in, to make the relationships. Because if you're insulated, you're going to run an insulated business. And it's going to be a business that is insulating the same way you from the outside, it's insulating your customers to you. And there is no collaboration there. You're just not doing, you're not offering the full pie. You're giving them a little piece, and you could be robbing your client of a lot of value.
True.
So we need each other
Sure.
to deliver the exceptional experiences that's our goal with clients. And clients, they don't know what they don't know. So we're in a big way consultants to the clients.
You are, yeah, the first person.
The first person,
Yeah.
the second person, the third person.
Yeah.
I mean, working together with the designer gets us into the door, and clients that may think that the highest performance is out of reach is not out of reach.
Nope.
And I today, especially today, I like for people to take the word imagination out of their language, because you don't have to imagine it. You can have it. It's there. And we need each other to deliver that message to the homeowners.
The reality is in the climate that we have, cooperative competition is a term I'm kind of trying to coin, because the reality is we live in this world that if we don't cooperate as businesses, the competition we will not succeed. There is too much going on. We are in a time where there are actual billion-dollar AV companies. We've never seen that ever before. So if we do not work together collaboratively, we will not be able to succeed. We will not be able to go forward. And that's also, as a business growing, how are you supposed to get yourself onto these projects? How are you supposed to further your business? But unless you're cooperating and working with other companies, even other dealers, then you're in essence going to hit a roadblock which will not allow you to grow.
And if I may, the other piece that I've noticed is when I came into the tech world 8 years ago, I didn't know all that much, but learning and having talks and sharing information. So even if that's not your area of expertise, you can speak about it and you can be relevant.
It gives you the competency and confidence to speak about the whole project.
Right. And if you have understanding of what's going out in the marketplace, you might not be the expert, but I always say it's like an internist. You have to have a really big Rolodex. So if you know people, you can point in the right direction. You want to make a business association with them and work something out on the side. You want to be transparent to your client. That's your business modality. That's your decision. But you need to know people, and you're not going to meet those people unless you come to these shows. And more educational opportunities for tradespeople as well as design professionals. And I'm going to hit this one again. The design world does not have the fluency in technology needed. I was just at a talk a few weeks ago at Crestron. It was amazing. People really want to know things, because anyone that does anything needs to know about the auxiliary businesses. As Toni was saying, it's like a high-performance car. People want that in their house, and you don't have to have imagination anymore, as Vince said, because really it's here. It's just how do you make it happen, and that's teamwork. And that's getting together a group of people that understand and have taken the opportunity to learn. Don't you guys agree?
Yes, I do. Hey, Mike, I have a question for you because I feel like you do this better than anyone in the marketplace. When it does come to packaging multiple services, multiple dealers, multiple vendors, do you package them under your company and resell them as subcontractors to your end user? Or is it just more about making the connection and giving it the things it needs, watering it and letting it grow on its own? Because in commercial, I find that you would typically subcontract someone. You would bring that person in and say, you work for me, we work for the client, but they're only touching me. There's two different ways to think about that. And there's ups and downs of both.
Again, why having a great team and trusting in your team. Now, the way I run my team is I'm very, very transparent. Everyone on my team, I have a high level of trust. So they are very front facing. They talk to the end user. They talk to the customer. They are there, whoever I bring in. And I do that on purpose. So because I treat others the way I want to be treated. And if I am constant fear that someone is going to do something to me, then they are the wrong partner.
Sure.
It's like being in a bad relationship. If you have no trust, then you're in the wrong, you should just get out of it. So I like to surround myself with people that I trust, and I treat them with trust because I trust them. I want to be treated the same way.
And that works well for the client as well then, because the client is getting effectively direct pricing from every vendor. There's no additional markups. There's no additional hand-holding. It's multiple client to provider relationships that are just working for the client.
Everyone gets more by sharing, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
I was curious about your take on that as well.
Absolutely, 100% true. And in my practice, I don't mark up the technology. It's like the I'm going to thank, by the way, the people from Kohler and Graph and particularly Signature Kitchen Suite for bringing the stuff into the little house.
Yeah, it's great out there.
With beautiful
Really great.
television. But the point therein is that Signature Kitchen Suite is a really great example for how powerful technology really is in the home. Because when you're thinking about the fact that the individual timers on the burners are going to communicate with your cell phone, okay, in your house or your tablet or whatever system it is that you're on. And when we're in that place where people are coming to expect that kind of performance, and I laugh because science fiction is science fact. I grew up and the guy was talking to his wireless shoe, but here we are, and people are really coming to expect this. And I think it's wonderful for the kitchen and bath industry to be coming in a way that's really thought-provoking and kind of tying the kitchen and bath community to the rest of the technology.
So that's actually
in the
an
house.
interesting. So my company provides a service called Technology General Contracting, and it's almost the core of what this discussion is about. And I think Vin's got a lot of experience in selling a lot of different technologies. When you do have the kitchen people and they've got their technology, and then you've got the AV guy and he has his technology, and the IT people and the ancillary services that are going to bolt onto that technology, who is the general contractor? Who is the person who watches all of it? Because a lot of people can make individual promises on their own, but to an extent, it's helpful when someone is responsible for the end solution.
That's why the partnership's so important. The general contractor is who the homeowner trusts, right? The first person on their phone.
Yeah.
And that's why we all work together in sync. When I first started, my career, the AV guys were the TV guys, and the designers would say, "Hey, TV guys, get away from my design budget." and where we are today is I can come home and my family room knows who I am, and my shades go down, my lights dim, and ESPN comes on. And
But
then
you just mentioned 3 different services, perhaps, right? You could have a shade person.
That's
you
right.
could have an AV integrator. You could have a kitchen services company. So
Right, and
there's a
then
lot of bits and pieces that.
the delivery,
Yeah.
and then there's more.
Yeah, of course.
Because then when my wife walks into the room knows who actually is the boss. The TV goes off, the lights either come on or dim further, and music comes on so that we can talk.
Yeah.
So there's no imagination. That's delivery to the homeowners that don't even know that they can have this. So technology and design, or design and technology, is available.
Yeah. Mike, I know you've been spearheading this effort to educate people on this stuff. I've seen some of the stuff that you brought around the office. How do we educate clients on, we can't get in front of every client that's ever existed. So how does the average homeowner have any idea what's possible? I mean, you go on YouTube and you search home technology, you are going to be inundated with, great things and bad things and nonsense. How does this market get educated?
Just like what we're doing here.
Yeah.
This was the idea for the connected home. The reality is we are a sum of all these products. But all these little black boxes, what are they? And so we wanted to make sure we say, hey, you know what? Let's take the magic out of it. Let me give you the experience. Understand, honestly, I had a designer come in and really explain this when I was trying to understand when they were talking about a feel. And I'm like, there's a rug. I'm having difficulty understanding this verbiage. And they're talking about a feel. And it took time for me to get it. And it was like, at one moment, I had this aha moment. I was like, it had nothing to do with any one part. It had to do with the entire room. And you walked in there and you're like, wow, this is different. This is different. And that was that moment that I understood that it had even nothing to do with the electronics. Everything I sell, it had nothing to do with any of it. I was selling happiness in a box.
Lifestyle.
And I was saying, please allow me to give this to you.
Yeah.
I have this magic box. Let me open it. Let me give you the magic. And all my partners, they have other magic boxes in other rooms. Allow us to show you the magic, because it's not about what's inside of it. Like any magic box, it's infinite. You can put our hand and we can pull all kinds of things out. It's about that magic of all of it together. And there is no one brand. I know there's all kinds of different control systems and different this and that. And you know what? Even I am a specialist of Crestron, and I love Crestron. There are so many other beautiful, amazing brands. Control 4 has made us an amazing setup here in the connected home that looks phenomenal. Their interface is easy to use. People are so happy over there. And at the end of the day, isn't that happiness in a box? Isn't that what they wanted to buy? So that space that was so provoking, there was Signature, there was Reflectel, there's Kohler. I could go on and on. Was it about any one of those? Not at all. Who cares about the individual? It's the us. It's all of it together. That's what made that space. That's what made all the magic. That's what bolsters why I keep pressing on this cooperative competition, because we are better together than we are by ourselves. And that magic box is real. And that is something that we can all provide together.
Is there a way that we as businesses, we all run our own individual businesses, can kind of promote this idea? How are you doing? I know how you do it, right? So we're partners, and you just ask and you kind of give people the idea, right? I bump into other business people. Sometimes I tell them and they're like, I don't really know if that's for me, or, I guess you'll sense if they're your competition or not. Has anyone had an issue with building those partnerships?
Can we also talk a little bit about the fact that the National Kitchen and Bath Association is promoting CEDIA? We're talking about this because we see technology even coming in to the kitchen and bath, and the open home concept. There's so many different reasons why all of it makes sense and why a home is truly an integrated environment now,
Sure.
right? So obviously having the technology all work together is the final piece for the whole house being a giant magic box, if you will. And I think that conversation has started in our community there, and in terms of companies trying to do this design technology connection, it's starting. It's a very important conversation, and it is absolutely necessary in order for people to have a user experience that matches the aesthetic. You need it. You need the whole lifestyle to where you're selling lifestyle with your happiness, are you not?
Lifestyle.
Think about where we have come. Like, let's look at the panel. We have kitchen and bath here at CE Week. Talk about what could have been two completely different worlds. Like, what are you doing here? But the reality is, you are so relevant here today, more than ever before. You're here.
And it's only going to grow.
Now, everyone knows a theater. Everybody loves a theater. That the theater is that place that, again, when we're talking wellness and all that, where all these spaces grow more, that theater that gives you that energy for your mind, your soul, grows you, where that kitchen and bath that cleanses your soul, feeds your body, another very needed thing. And what more than a beautiful mirror with a nice frame to see yourself, all that these elements. And without light, we don't have anything. So think about this, the beauty of the group. Now everyone can specialize, give their very passionate magic. And that's why that makes that box that's nothing. But all of us together, when we fill it up, so magical. Everyone falls in love, and that's what they're buying. That's what we need to sell, and that's what the partnership is about. Giving all of us the opportunity to sprinkle a little bit of our magic into that box. To give that end user that magical thing that they didn't even realize they wanted, they needed, or they had the vision. It took all of us to come together to present it, for them to see it, to get to that point where they were like, I'm home. We made their home. I'm home. Those words, those 4 letters, I'm home. The power of that, of being able to go home and that pride and that joy, there is magic in those. And that's what we do. That's what all our little elements, we make a home. We make it their home, not ours. Their home in their way. That's what all that magic is.
So Toni said lifestyle. And what we deliver is a simplified technology lifestyle, which is elegant, it's beautiful, it's luxurious. Who doesn't love it?
I want to remind you what you told me about your company, Vince, that it's wellness. It's wellness. Your home is your sanctuary. We live in a very high-tech buzz world now. Everything's going on. When you come home, you want to know you can have the lights down, you can have the lights up, you can have your TV on, you can have a mirror up. You can put video art, bringing art into the environment through this monitor on your wall. That's amazing. That this is now something with 4K, 5K, 8K. I can't even keep up with you guys, but all I do know is that we enhance the experience. You guys are the experience, Toni and I enhance it. You guys provide the technology, as I said, the nerve center of the home, but how do we make it hospitable? How do we make it a sanctuary? How do we make it a
Lifestyle?
Well, and just your wellness, your basic wellness, because at the end of the day, that's what people want. They want to go home. They want to be at peace. They've been working all day, and they want to be able to have their lifestyle and their comfort. Yeah. So if that doesn't say it all, Mike will finish it off.
Well, with all that, as you see, the partnership and all of us coming together, that is definitely the focus of all this. And if one takeaway from all of this is the cooperative competition. More of us need to come together. More of us need to collaborate and grow and really show and explain this to our customers and show it, because with collaboration, all kinds of growth, new technology, innovative things, and amazing relationships, awesome families are grown in that way. And in reality, it's not about the money or none of that. It's about the people you meet, the relationships you have. We're all getting older every day. And one day I want to sit around with all my friends and be like, everything we did is whatever, but we're here together, and I grew all these people. And I have been, I'm blessed to have so many amazing friends and literally surrounding me right now. you know, and I hope to grow my channel, and I hope we can all work together to do this magic, this partnership, this cooperative competition, that we can all compete and live in our own and be our own champions while still together like the Avengers in our own little group. You know what I mean? And that's that cooperative competition.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Well, thank you. Well, this is the panel. Thank you very much. Have a good night.